Hey, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Candles and Conversations with myself, Amber Williams. So, if you are new to my page or just not following me, my name is Amber Williams, and I help my clients to incorporate self care into their everyday routine using the time that they already have. So, today we're actually going to be discussing Black love. So, I have some special guests for you all. So, while you actually are coming in, I want to know where you're tuning in from. Also, if you are watching on the replay, please let me know that you're watching on the replay. Just put hashtag replay. So as you're coming in again, just let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm going to go ahead and so we are featuring the Black Love candle here. So I can show you guys here. It is a part of Sense Exchange Black History collection. So it comes with the Black love, Black wisdom, and also Black and equal. But again, today we are going to be discussing the Black love candle. So I have one here for myself. I'm going to get ready to go ahead and light it for you all. It smells so good. If I can get it lit. So I have mine lit here to enjoy while we talk about Black love tonight. All right. Make it too much. All right, so just come on in again. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest speakers on, Miss Felicia and Patrick Kelly, and we're going to discuss Black love. So give me 1 second to bring them on. Hey, y'all.
Hey, now. Can you hear us okay?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, now.
So if you guys want to go ahead and just introduce yourself and let us know, of course, what's going on with you guys.
Yes. Well, hey, now. My name is Felicia Kelly. I am the quiet one of the two. Just kidding. I am the loud mouth, which is why I said we actually are embracing the serial entrepreneur in us now. We own a few businesses. We are real estate investors as well. And I will let Patrick, the more quiet one, introduce himself. And I promise not to out-talk him today, y'all.
Hey, y'all. And I'm Patrick. I'm the VP of Cyrus & Co. And pretty much just the quiet one, behind the scenes one. So if I get on the camera, then, hey, I guess somebody wanted to talk about
something. Yeah, and we are parents as well. We have a 5-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. So we're doing the whole power couple jam as well.
You just like all the other entrepreneurs, that Black mom, Black love, and being an entrepreneur, and also that for me being parents, I should say.
Yeah.
So so we're gonna just go ahead and jump right into it regarding the Black love. I'm so excited about this. So this because discussing the Black love. So just going into our first point here. So you guys are essentially that power couple that is working together. You guys have kids together, and living together. So I would say, how would you guys define Black love, and what does it mean to you?
Oh, that's such a good question. Do you want to go first? Oh, you're going to defer? Okay. So for me, when I think about Black love, I think about what society portrays versus how we actually operate. And to me, it's really no secret that society displays us as a people as broken people. Society displays us as broken families. They display us as lost individuals and lost even in relationships. Society displays us as toxic, as our Black men are not stand-up men. And to me, Black love is about defying the odds and really showing the truth about what a Black couple is and a Black marriage is. And when I think about us on a daily basis, I don't wake up and think, oh, we are a Black couple. I just think about us and what our vision is and what our future entails. So for me, Black love is really about living the truth and displaying that truth on a daily basis to really just be an example to other people who might look to us for that example.
Mm-hmm. And my take on it is just basically like being a husband and wife duo that actually work together. because for me, I grew up in a single parent household. So it was like, now, okay, we got kids now. So it's like, hey, we got to set the right example, for the kids moving forward.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so good. And actually, teaching your part about Felicia, about what society actually tells us of, what the Black community is going through and what Black love really is. It kind of speaks about the way that the way that we think as a Black in the Black community and what we so-called expect, because that's what society, drills in our head, like this is what it is. And it's really not, to that aspect. And like, again, Patrick said, that single parent household, like for myself, I grew up in a single parent household as well. So, really being able to define that Black love and be able to live out, and showing, your children a different part of what it actually really is. I think that's so good.
Yeah, and then too, Black love is not just romantic, right?
Yeah,
there are these different narratives that are portrayed throughout society that, like, Black women can't work together. I know we've all heard that, even in corporate, that if there's a sister in charge, it's only going to be one. And hearing those narratives is if there's not enough room for all of us, when knowing that this country and majority of this world was built on the blacks of Black cultures and Black people, realize that Black love should be infused in everything that we do. So even in our brands, when we're building brands, we're talking about giving back to communities. There's love there. When we talk about being an example to people that are coming up, whether it's siblings or children in the community or whoever is watching us, there's love there. And I think a lot of times Black love is simply choosing to do the thing that you're called to do. Because there's a lot of talent in our community. There's a lot of talent and wisdom and wealth creation in us, and we see that throughout social media with the influencers who are not people of our culture, who will copy our things. And matter of fact, we're parenting right now. Bella is always her dad, right? And having these safe spaces where we can still parent and we can still 20-second conversation, he ain't even got to get up. There's love there, right? And so I think a lot of times it just permeates in how we operate as a people, individually and corporately.
I think that's so good too, just because like you said, that Black love part is about all of us coming together. And as a Black community, honestly, just, being real transparent here, in the Black community, it's very, like, we're kind of like the one community that doesn't really come together and work together as we should. As much, I should say as much as we should. And so that is really a good point of Black love is essentially all of us coming together as a community in the Black community, and not just, essentially helping one another out as well.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think, talking about that tough love with Belle, we've had these conversations where, sometimes that love looks like a no. Sometimes that love looks like leaving your community for a while to go and get some resources and bring them back. And, I don't want to out talk you. I know we've talked about that. If you want to add anything, because we've seen that where we've had to leave our community to go and get knowledge and information and then bring it back. We see these things where people say, oh, well, nobody comes back to the hood. Well, we don't come back to the hood to live there, because it's the hood, but we do come back to educate. And I think it's a responsibility for us to make sure that we educate anyone that wants to be educated.
That part, because they have to be willing to be educated, because it all starts with your mindset. So if your mindset isn't there to be educated, it won't happen. So, Patrick, what you got to say about that?
Something else that just came to my mind is like, okay, you talk about Black love, but you have to be willing to be loved too.
True.
So, and you also have to love yourself. So that looks like, okay, you have to, me, Patrick, I have to love myself to be able to, love Felicia and provide for her and stuff like that.
That's good.
That's so good.
That's good. I got to piggyback on that, when you talk about loving yourself, if anybody that knows me, for those who are new to me and Patrick, one of the things that we talk about is wealth creation. And I don't mean the quiet wealth. I mean the wealth creation where you live in luxury and, there's no secret that we are Kingdom entrepreneurs. I love Jesus with my whole heart. Now, keep in mind, I don't love the broke Jesus that the old school church about, because I don't know that guy. But we really believe in the type of love that says, if I need to take a day and I need to go lay on somebody's massage table all day, that's okay. If I need to take a day, which is how we got stuck in Texas, we need to travel, we need to go and do X, Y, Z. And that's how we're going to move. And I think part of loving ourselves is telling ourselves the truth about what we really want.
Yeah.
You know, for so many years, you know, back to society has told us what we can't have, what we can't be, what we can't do. And part of that loving ourselves, like you brought up, and something that I learned from Patrick, is loving myself enough to be honest about what I really want. And if I don't want to be at the bottom, that's cool. If I don't want to be in the middle, that's cool too. If I want to be at the top, that's what we're going for. And so I think that, you know, having a husband like that, who is very open and honest about how to love yourself, and letting me know that it's my responsibility to love myself, I think that has really played a major role in how we're able to be in this position to have this discussion. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a big deal, and I think that people need to really honor that for themselves. She parenting too.
Parenting too. All parenting.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
Look, it's very real. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm just lost my train of thought. But yeah,
that's how they do it.
Yeah, they just come in whenever.
Mama, I know you're on a class, but I want to talk about this Spider-Man right now.
Right. It was some noodles, okay?
Of course it was. Noodles are important.
Yes, it's very important. That's how. Yes. So, if you're just not tuning in, I just kind of want to refresh the room here. And so we are discussing Black love, not just Black love in essentially like relationship, but also Black love in the entire Black community. So we are actually highlighting, I'm going to bring it up here, is our Sense Exchange Black Love candle. So if you have not, make sure you go on and purchase yours at senseexchange.com, so you can enjoy this great aroma. I have mine lit here already, but I'm going to show you the one that's not lit here. So the Black Love candle. So we are going to go ahead and continue on with this wonderful conversation with Patrick and Felicia Kelly. So my next point is, I know we have spoke a little bit about the Black community and that tough love in the Black community. Besides that tough love, what else would you say, like how Black love affects the Black community?
Mm-hmm. You want to go? You want?
I'm gonna have to think about that one a little bit.
You know, I think it goes back to being that example. Because sometimes when you're being an example, people already have a, you know, you meet somebody. You remember before social media, we used to talk to people on the phone, and maybe you hadn't met in person or something like that. And like you and your homegirl had a mutual homegirl, but you had met the other girl and y'all talk on three-way. And you have an image of how that person looks in your mind. And then you meet them and you're like, oh, that's not how I expected you to look. You look totally different. You know, I think sometimes that's what people expect from successful people, or sometimes from people who are moving in a different space. And I think that in our community, oftentimes we have an idea of what things should be. Like when I'll use Texas, for example, we're in Texas right now. We were supposed to have been home. And of course, we're not able to go home until these things clear up. Right. And everybody has an opinion on how these things should be handled. But until you get in a situation where you have to make decisions, it's totally different. Just like everybody wants to tell celebrities how to spend their money. You should be doing this for the Black community. You should be starting schools. You should be doing this. And I think sometimes people don't have enough information to have a valid opinion. And so when it comes to how Black love impacts our community, I think it goes back to being that example. It goes back to saying, hey, this is how I'm going to move it. Now I'm going to require you to come up to my level. I'm not going to come down to your level where you are, because that's where you're comfortable. And because as a culture for hundreds of years, we've been told who we could and couldn't be. There are still some people that have a lot of remnants of that poverty mindset. And so they have an expectation without having enough information and without preparing themselves for what that next level is going to look like. And so I think that when we talk about how Black love impacts the community, it's not just marriage. It's not just staying married for the sake of being married. It's also having a marriage that we want to be in. I'm married to Patrick because I love Patrick. And this is the person that I know God positioned me with. I'm not married to Patrick because I need him. I'm not married to Patrick because I need his money, and vice versa. I'm married to Patrick because this is where I want to be. Because if I don't want to be here, baby, I will be gone. I want to be here every day with this person, even if it's not the most perfect days. And when we talk about our community and what society sees and how they portray us, even in Google searches, if you Google Black couples, a lot of times you're going to see toxicity. If you Google Black woman, a lot of times you're going to see her by herself or looking ratchet or something like that, versus when you Google other cultures. And so what I love to do is I love to see marriages like my grandparents. My grandparents love each other. They've been married like 55 years. And we engage with them on the regular when we're here. And we watch them and we crack up. Because my granddad's chasing my grandma around the house, grabbing at her and stuff like that. And they're like 80. And that's real. Versus the whole narrative of grandmama stayed married for 50 years because she had to. Well, that may have been true, but that's not just a Black thing. That's a whole society thing. And so Black love in the community, people need to see Felicia's and Patrick's. They need to see us, right? Whether there are people who think, oh, they're always showing out. We need to. We need to show out so somebody can know that, oh, okay, I can live like that. So I know it was long-winded, but I just had to make that point.
and just something else to talk about that kind of falls in line with what you were saying. How a lot of times, like, people want to sugarcoat stuff when you really can't. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's like now everybody puts everything on social media. If you didn't see it on social media, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. But at the same time, it's like, you know, we basically shown like our whole journey. You know, we didn't just show up here overnight. This didn't just happen overnight. I mean, you know, if this same situation had happened to us 2-3 years ago, we would have been like, all right, now, how are we gonna get back home? But now it's like, okay, I mean, it's just an extended vacation. So it's like a lot of Black people, I feel like, have the mindset that like, oh, you know, it's an overnight success type thing when it's not.
It's not. And I think it's gonna always take work. There's not some destination you're gonna arrive to where you put your feet up. Because if that was the case, I was supposed to have my feet up. Okay, I like to work. But we have to realize too that a lot of what is shown to us as a culture, we have been portrayed as a gullible people. And that is because for so long people have been allowed to tell us what to do. But until we take our power back, I think once we take our power back individually, corporately, as couples, and I think that changes the game for those connected to us.
Yep, it's that whole aspect, and I'm going to speak about self-care, you know me, but that whole aspect of, because self-care is not just, you know, lighting a candle and relaxing in the bathtub. It's that whole aspect of your whole body, you know, the way you think, the way you feel, you know, what you do, what you believe in, all of that takes a part into yourself and making sure yourself is ready, you know, to be loved, as Patrick said, and to be, you know, in that relationship, making sure that you're giving back to your community. And kind of like Patrick said too, when it comes to, you know, having that mindset of, you know, that entrepreneur mindset and being ready for, you know, what is to come of that as well. So I think
that's the whole word. That's the whole word, being ready for what you asked for.
Yeah.
Right? And can we talk about B. Simone for a second? How B. Simone went viral again the other day? Because she was going off talking about how you want a man, what you got that you want in a man, but you ain't doing none of that.
Exactly.
Right? Becoming the person you asked for, and people start tearing her a new one. And I feel like B. Simone is not allowed to say anything. That's how every time she says something, people are upset, which I identify with. She talked about how she wanted a man that had good entrepreneurial sense. So when the spaces where she did bad business, she had to go fix that. She wanted a man that was in shape and had a body and this and that. So she had to stop eating the snack cakes. Right now, I already got my husband. I'm eating my snack cakes.
I am.
And I can tell I've been eating some snack cakes the past 3 weeks in Texas. But the point was that everything that you desire from the world, you have to become. You can't just put a tag on the things that you want to say. I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. And you want to sit around and wait on it to pop up.
Because it ain't
how it works. You have to be ready. Prayer doesn't do no good without preparation.
Exactly. Right? And then too, God don't give you all the tools that you need, but you got to put in the work. You can't just pray and expect it's going to happen. You got to put in that work to get there.
Exactly. And you also have to become the person that can steward what you plan to receive. Because I know what it's like to make $250,000 and come out with zero. I've done that because I was not prepared to be 19 years old making $10,000 and $12,000 a month, coming from poverty, right? And so when I became the person who could handle 6-figure months, that's a different ball game. Versus just constantly, I just want my business to pop off. I just want my business to pop off. Let me speak to the business people in the room. When you're talking about things that you love, number one, your business ain't your baby. It's a vessel for wealth creation. Right? So if you're a person who's in business, let alone in business with your spouse, or if you're married and in business, you in business with your spouse, even if you don't want to be, because you have to be on the same page. I'm telling you, there was a game changer when I stopped thinking of it as my business. And I was over here and not saying anything to Patrick about what was going on, even though we were getting along well. It was a game changer when I let him in my business. When I was praying for, God, I want my business to blow up, blow up, blow up, blow up. Okay, well, I had to be ready for that blow up because all them leads got to be managed. All those new clients got to be treated well. It's the same thing when you're working with your spouse. You want a husband, you want to pop a marriage that's popping. Okay, well, what is it about you that you need to bring to the table for that marriage to be popping? You know what I'm saying? So it all works together.
Exactly. So that's so good. That's so good. So if you guys, I want to just make sure I'll check the tech and make sure you guys can still hear me. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay. And audience, if you can comment, let me know that you can hear me as well. I know it's probably going to come up a little slow, but as long as you guys can hear me.
I'm actually even going to check Facebook to make sure we're still streaming. I can still see us fine.
Okay. And I'm going to use this time, too, to kind of go ahead and reset before we get into our next point here. So we are discussing Black love, not as just a relationship, but as a whole into the Black community. This was inspired by Sense Exchange Black History Collection that includes the Black Love Candle. I have mine lit here. And I'm going to show you mine. I have one on the side lit as well. So if you want to go ahead and enjoy this great aroma, go to senseexchange.com and order yours today. Okay, someone just commented and said we can hear. Okay, great. So going into our next point, what information would you all give to a couple that may be struggling or, in trying to build that empire that you guys actually have essentially overcome?
Oh, that's you, Patrick. I'm gonna let you give them your 4-step framework.
All right, so basically we have like a 4-step framework that we pretty much live by. We didn't know that we were living by it until we got ready to do another, speaking engagement, and we were talking about everything. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, you got to talk stuff out. So step 1 to the 4-part framework is communication. Excuse me. Step 2 is vision, because you can't have the vision without communication.
Amen.
Step 3 is support. So you have to be able to communicate, discuss the vision, then talk about how you can either support that one person or y'all can support each other. And step 4 is evolution. Basically taking a step back, basically like I did on the Valentine's Day post, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a step back and saying like, okay, where did we start?
Mm-hmm.
Where are we now? And where do we, want to go?
Yeah. Yeah. Patrick is really a lot of the strategy behind how we operate. And I know people see me and they're like, oh, fee, because I'm the person in the front. Mm-hmm. But things like this is what Patrick builds, right? And this is why we have so many frameworks in our business. This is how we're able to manage, because I don't believe you can always balance everything, but you can manage them. This is how we can manage having a business and having a marriage and having a friendship, because Patrick and I started off as friends. And so when you pull those
things together, like me at first.
Did not like him at all.
We were talking about that.
So important though to start off as friends, because you want to be your friends with your house.
Yeah, we started off as friends, but we used this framework. And when he broke it down for me like that, I said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Anytime we speak, we have to give people this framework, because this is what we live by. And so I'm just grateful to him for really just building this out and saying, hey, this is the foundation of everything that we have. And so I'm just grateful for that.
Awesome. So the 4 steps of framework. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the chat. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Communication, vision, support, and evolution. The evolution is my favorite one of the 4, because we're constantly evolving. Something my grandma said to me, Patrick and I were very fortunate when we got ready to get married, because we had a very, very real expectation of what marriage was. And I'm a crier, y'all. So if I cry, y'all just bear with it, okay? We have very strong examples of marriage, no perfect ones, but very strong examples between my parents, both sets of our grandparents, and they were all very, very, very real with us. And the evolution piece always goes back to them, because my grandmother made a point, my mom's mom, she said, Fee, one thing I want y'all to think about is if each of you never changes, you got to be okay with that. Mm-hmm. But if you guys change going through marriage, as almost all people do, you got to be okay with that too. So whoever y'all are going to become, make sure that you always honor who that person is becoming. And I'm paraphrasing, but that was her point. And so we've seen evolution after evolution versus individually and corporately, because I'm not the same Fee that I was when we got married. I'm a mom now. I think differently. We have our kids are different ages now. We're different places in business and in our lives. And so, the evolution piece, if you guys can really, really just grasp onto that and really honor evolution, because I think that's hard for a lot of people in relationships.
And they ain't the same skinny Patrick you met.
Surely are not that skinny Patrick. That skinny Patrick wasn't gonna work out. We needed some weight on that one.
I'm Patrick with the fat cheeks in the belly now.
I think that's so good too, because like you said, I mean, we all know that, they say, what's it saying, every 5 years that you're changing into a different person or a new person. So I think too, not only with like relationships, but even as yourself as a whole, like in order to be able to love yourself and to be able to find yourself as well. So going back to that Black love, loving yourself too, as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. And even loving yourself when you're not great.
Oh, go ahead. What'd you say?
And even loving yourself when you're not great.
Absolutely.
Right? Everybody's trying to find themselves. But I'm always finding myself. I learn more things about myself and about each other. And, even loving yourself when you're not great, I think that's necessary, because we all make some real bad decisions in life. We all tear some stuff up. And I think if you can still love yourself through tearing some stuff up and love each other through tearing some stuff up, I think that's important.
Right. And I think that's so important as, being in a relationship, in marriage too, knowing that, a lot of people say, I want that love, like my grandma had, or, being married for 55 years and plus. But you have to understand too that it took a lot of forgiveness. It took communication, as you guys talked about. It takes a lot of that to be able to overcome those obstacles, because no relationship is perfect. We ourselves no one is perfect. So even with yourself, you have to love yourself. Like you said, go back to even when you are not at your best, loving yourself as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where their framework comes into play. right? Because a lot of people don't like to talk about things. If you're not going to talk about, if you're a person that likes to hold stuff in, you don't want to have any conversations that I don't want nobody to answer to. I want to start my own business so I can be my own boss. Nobody's going to tell me.
Good luck with that.
Therapy, okay? Therapist, that's what you need. A therapist, however you want to call them, right? Because you're going to have to learn to communicate with vision, right? Vision evolves. Vision changes because the vision you have and the vision that your spouse has, you have to see, okay, what is God saying about our life? What is the call on my life? What is the call on his? Because if Patrick needed somebody that was going to stroke his ego, he wouldn't have married Fee. If he needed somebody that was going to be quiet so he can make himself feel like a man, that would have been different. He wouldn't have been able to marry me. Patrick is very secure in who he is. So even though he's responsible for the vision, because we live our lives on kingdom principles, right? So this is our particular belief. He's responsible for the vision, even though God put me in the forefront. And that can really do harm to a man who has an ego issue. But because Patrick doesn't have an ego issue, the vision can be carried out ever how it's carried, right? And even the support piece. If you're the person that has to have all the spotlight and all the attention all the time, you're going to struggle in love and relationships, period. If you cannot handle another person being more seen or having more strength or having their moment, you're going to struggle. And so as you continue to move through those pieces where the evolution comes in, you can see yourself grow through all of those pieces. And so it always goes back to the framework. It always goes back to that.
That framework.
Yeah.
That's so good. Well, I know we are coming to an end on this. Do you guys have anything else to add before we kind of wrap up and close out?
I didn't know if you wanted to take questions or anything. It's your show, so.
Yeah, I definitely want to take questions. I just want to make sure you guys want to add anything.
No, I'm good. This has been good to me. I enjoy these conversations.
This is amazing. Just being able to get that, that concept of, like I said, Black love and just as a whole, not just as a, any relationship, like as a whole in the Black community. But if you guys have any questions for Fee and Patrick, if you guys want to drop them in the comments, that'll be great. So we are, again, discussing Black love in honor of the Sense Exchange Black Love candle, part of the Black History Collection. You can get yours at senseexchange.com. And I just want to, like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments and we'll answer any question that you have.
And I think Be Live sometimes is like 10 seconds behind.
Facebook is always lagging.
All of the platforms when they stream to Facebook, I said 50 seconds behind.
So I'll check to see if any is in the comments on Facebook here as well.
I appreciate you having us on. This has been dope.
I appreciate you guys for taking the time out today.
Patrick was whispering right before we got started talking about is she sending us one of your Black love candles? Because I feel like we should get one. Patrick's always down for a candle. He goes Sense Exchange.
He loves it.
Loves Patrick alive.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's something else too that I can kind of touch on. Like most guys, they're not gonna actually come right out and say like, "Oh, I like candles." Like that was something that, like, I mean, I grew up. My mom is a faithful candle burner, so it's like I didn't really think about it, but even like back then, growing up as a child, like that was part of self-care and something that you touch on and everything. So it's like, okay, if you walk in a room and you smell one of your candles, or it's something that you can link to happiness, love.
Yeah. Walk in a room and you got what's that candle that we burn all the time? So one of
the pie candle that we got.
It's one. So a funny story. My stepmom and one of my friends actually fought over a candle, and I can't think of what it was, but my friend bought the last one off the website over Thanksgiving. It was one that you released in November. It was only available in November.
It had sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
Sweet potato pie. So you walk in a room and that sweet potato pie candle is burning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, if you had a bad day and you walk in and you smell that candle, the first thing you're going to think is, who is baking a pie?
Yeah.
Right?
And then it's like, okay, well, that's black love, because you think
You think about the child in your grandma's house.
Yeah.
For us, we're Southern people, so for us that's what we think about, and I just I always enjoy those moments. And again, it goes back to how you love yourself and not having ego. We're gonna have a new candle all the time. Period. We love them. He's gonna have them. So I just love that as well.
But I think that's so important too, as men, like I said, Patrick, not having that ego, because I mean, in the Black community, we have a lot of that where men have that ego up. It's like, candles, what's that? Like, I don't like, but getting into this, it's like men love candles just as much as women do. It's being able to put that ego down and say, yeah, I like candles. And so what? Not caring what people think about, that you love candles. But it essentially, for me, candles make the house a home as well. Like those aromas that just feel so warm and cozy. So it's just amazing to me.
Yeah. It's always and it's always an event. Like if we order candles from you, or when he orders candles, because it's Patrick orders candles, it's always an event. Like when he sees that box come in, it's got that label on there. He's like, my candles came. And so, to watch him hold this candle is he does it in such a manly way. But that's one of the things he does for self-love, for self-care. And he has no ego about it. Patrick's going to get him a massage. He's going to buy some candles, and there is no ego about it whatsoever. And I think when you really come into who you are and you stand firm in how you love yourself, I think it's just the thought about it being, is this manly, or is this, am I going to be seen as a good woman or mother, or I think all this stuff goes out the window.
Right. Ain't got to the pedicure stage yet. No, I can't do that.
Right. And kind of speaking of that, when you say man, I'm going to speak on Sierra and Russell, just because like I seen something lately about Russell being, people talking about him being like a coward and all that stuff, because he actually is loving his wife. So that means, like you say, he is so into himself, and he loves himself, and he knows himself, and he's able to treat his wife with that respect that she deserves.
We were just talking about that before we got on here. Just talking about it. Yeah, because I saw a comment by a mother that basically a gentleman said something to a young boy about how inappropriate it is for Russell to love on Sierra and their children the way that he does. And I said, well, if Russell is corny, so is Patrick, because Patrick is just like that. He's just like that. And I think, again, it goes back to some of the brokenness in our community, because it's been okay for the father to not either be in the home or not be involved at all. And it's been set as the norm because Black men can't be fathers, or Black men are not good husbands. I think it speaks to that narrative. And so when you see something as societally uncommon as Russell Wilson, it's like he's an anomaly, and people automatically go into how wrong he is, not thinking about this is probably brokenness. If you have a problem with a man loving his wife, it amazes me how even some of the married men have an issue with how Russell treats Sierra. And so this topic continues to come up, and I'm wondering, what do you want a wife for if you're not going to honor her? Right? Why do you want children with a woman if you're not going to honor them? And so I think we have to continue to have these conversations and talk about how the true norm is for a husband and wife to actually like each other and show each other respect. It's not about having a wife that's just going to obey you, right? I think we just misconstrue a lot of things. And, if Patrick being corny is the definition of how well he treats me, I just need you to keep on being corny. You're doing good. You just be corny. So I think that we just have to change our thought pattern. And again, women have to get honest about what they want, because I ain't telling no crap. And I see my mom is on here. Hey, mommy, I'm Rhonda K. Christie daughter. Okay, who's formerly Rhonda K. Rollins, Rhonda K. And KK baby ain't taking no trash. And so, I think it goes back to standards. It goes back to standards and having young sisters in their 20s and watching them and how they're like, oh, if he don't treat you right, drop him. You know, because we can even carry this into the Lori Harvey conversation.
I was getting ready to say that.
We can go there. We can go there.
Getting ready to bring that up.
How much time you got? I forgot my jewelry today, but I imagine
we got plenty of time.
Right? And Lori Harvey is doing nothing wrong and has done nothing wrong.
Exactly.
And I was looking at Lori Harvey today, and I'm gonna let you say something in a minute, baby, because you know I goes in about this. Michael B. Jordan posted a picture of Lori Harvey today, and he said, "I love you, baby," on it. And you can see this relationship is totally different than any relationship she's ever had. You can see in how she shows up. You can see it in how she smiles. You can see it in how they engage, their eye engagement, their eye contact is totally different. This is not a fly-by-night romance, right? And Lori Harvey did nothing wrong. Lori Harvey dated, and when men treated her like trash, bye-bye.
Yep, she went by.
As a young girl, as she should. And when a man approached her who could operate the way he needed to operate, now you see a real relationship. And that's how it's supposed to be. And I want every woman, especially every Black woman that's listening to this, to understand that you do not have to settle. You do not have to settle for anything. I don't care how many kids you have. I don't care how old you are. I don't care about any of that. I will say, like every other person on the planet, you have to become what you want. So if you're operating at a certain standard, you do not have to lower that standard for anybody. When I met Patrick, I had a standard. And I told Patrick from probably conversation number 3, I don't do girlfriend. I don't do friends with benefits. I don't do long-term girlfriend. I don't do none of that. I know I'm a wife. Now, you don't have to marry me today. I don't even know if I like you that much. I'm just telling you. Right? And we laugh about it now, but I was so serious. And now that I have a daughter, I'm even more serious. And now I understand where my mama was coming from.
Right.
You don't have to settle. Lori Harvey is doing nothing wrong. Nothing. Right? And I think women who are mad and are saying, I don't even know why he with her. She for the streets. No, she not. That girl is dating. She just happens to be in the public eye.
Exactly.
Because if you've been a woman that's only had one boyfriend your whole life, and then you maybe, you've been single all that time, and maybe now we can have a conversation. But I think a lot of times we need to look at our own brokenness when we get ready to judge. A lot of times these women that are angry at Lori Harvey, they've made a mistake in choosing a man that ain't for them and doesn't care about them. That's why they mad at Sierra and Lori Harvey, right? And so I could go on for days about that, but I'm here to tell y'all I am pro Lori Harvey. Okay.
Patrick,
you got anything?
No, so my take on it, I mean, coming from a guy's point of view, it's like, okay, you got to look at the people that Lori Harvey dated in the past. You got Future, you got Diddy, you got people that were basically known for being in the public eye too, but not in the same way that Michael B. Jordan is. And so like it's a different caliber of dude. So you look at it like this, like, okay, well, Michael B. Jordan, well put together dude, respectable dude. Looks like, 20, 30 years from now can be in the same, situation that Steve Harvey is. Just a, absolute mogul. You know what I mean? He's got a lot going for himself. So at the end of the day, you got to look at it like, okay, most of the people that's mad, they probably attracting the complete opposite.
That's good.
So it's like, okay, most of the time, the people that's mad, they attracting people that are attracted to people like them. So if they not, living up to their full potential, they ain't got their stuff together, then you're going to attract the same thing. Yeah. I mean, somebody that's, Lord knows, I mean, I hate to, talk about it, but I mean, that's how real it is. A homeless person is not going to attract multi-millionaire because you're looking at the outside appearance. You got to have something in common to be able to be attracted to each other.
That's good. That's so good. That's so good. And that made me think about myself. Like when we met, totally almost 9 years ago, I think about where I was as a person.
Old.
You are really old. You surely are. You surely are.
I think you're saying that women don't get old, we just gain wisdom.
Right. We don't have to get old, right? I don't get old.
You cook like somebody grandma.
I do cook like grandma. Yeah. I think about, it just really jogged my memory from where I was before we met, and the caliber, when you talked about the caliber of dude that Michael B. Jordan is versus her previous engagements, entanglements, or whatever you want to call them.
Entanglement.
Yeah. We're dating different caliber of dudes. And so the level of support that I have from Patrick in living to my full potential is on a different level. But before I met him, I had made a decision in my life about who I was going to be. Versus when I was in those other relationships, I had made that decision. Right. And so I think that's so good. And I just wanted to affirm what you said, because that's my experience.
Yeah. And it goes back to what Patrick said. It goes back to knowing yourself, and it goes back to knowing exactly what you want and setting those boundaries and sticking to them. Because the one thing that people have an issue with, they set those boundaries, but then they don't stick to them, and then wonder why they're not getting what they want. Like, you're not going to if you don't stick to your boundaries. You got to learn how to say no. If that's saying no to yourself, your friends, your family, whoever it needs to be, you have to say that in order to get to your boundaries. And don't settle. No matter what you want to do, you put your mind to that and you make it happen. So,
because I mean, a lot of times, like people, they set these boundaries and standards, but they don't even live up to them themselves.
Exactly.
So I mean, how do you expect somebody else to do something that you're not even willing to do for yourself?
That's good. That's good. That's so good. I ain't got nothing to add to that.
It goes back to what you said. It goes back to that list of writing down what you want. Like, if you're wanting this, then you need to be doing this and living up to it to get what you want. It goes back to what we talked about previously too. Like, it's not just going to be, laid in your lap. You have to work for it.
Yeah, that's so good.
That's so good.
That was good. I don't have nothing to say.
That's so good. I don't see no questions. Y'all don't have any questions in the comments. I don't see none. But that was so good.
Yeah. This was dope. I'm glad that you do these candles and conversations. This is necessary.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys again for taking the time out and talking with me today for Candles and Conversation. If you guys want to go ahead and let them know how to, if they want to speak to you in the future, go ahead and let them know that information.
I would recommend just follow my Instagram. You can follow us at Official Cyrus & Co. You can follow my personal brand at Being Felicia Kelly. But today was really just about coming to support what you're doing, Amber, because I think this is necessary. I think that the level of conversation that you have around self-care and, operating in self-care instead of just practicing self-care, I think that's just beautiful. So we're just really here to support what you're doing. But if people want to follow us and connect with us on social, then you can go to Official Cyrus & Co. on Instagram or Being Felicia Kelly.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Thank you guys for being here today. So essentially for me, of course, my name is Amber and I host these Candles Conversation every week. So next week, we're going to be talking about our Black and Equal candle. So that is going to be our highlight next week. So make sure you're tuned in. We have a special guest for next week as well. So don't want to miss that. But again, making sure the Black Love was inspired by our Black History collection at Sense Exchange. So here is the candle here. I have mine lit on the side of me. So just go to senseexchange.com to go ahead and grab you one because this was a great conversation. You want to make sure you reminisce with that candle, bringing that back. Candle back. So again, I appreciate you all and you guys have a good night. Oh, thank you, Felicia, for putting it in the comments.
You might be already, girl.
I know, right? And I will see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye.